Hello and welcome, everyone. I am Alexi, and you are watching Magical Multiverse Tour, Iron Edda, World of Metal and Bone, Kaldheim Chaos, Session 3 of 4. Let me unpack that. This is a game organized through the Gauntlet gaming community. Lots of wonderful indie games are going up each and every month on the Gauntlet. You can check out the Gauntlet at gauntlet-rpg.com or by following it on Twitter at gauntletrpg. Definitely, stay tuned for information about the next Gauntlet Community Open Gaming. If you're intrigued by the games we're playing and want to come game with us, Gauntlet Community Open Gaming is a great way to jump on and get to interact with the community. The game we're playing tonight, it is Iron Edda, World of Metal and Bone. The original Iron Edda was created by Tracy Barnett as a heavy metal Norse fantasy mecha combat game. World of Metal and Bone is the Powered by the Apocalypse adaptation of that same concept. And Paul Stefko is the creator of this take on Iron Edda, World of Metal and Bone. We are using that system to play a game set in the world of Kaldheim. That is our setting. It is drawn from the lore of Magic the Gathering. So it is one of the many planes of the Magic the Gathering multiverse, and this is part of my own meta series of Magical Multiverse Tour, where I go around the Magic multiverse with different games and drop in to tell stories within these settings. Now, don't be alarmed. There will be no need to have memorized Magic the Gathering lore here. The setting is still heavily Norse mythology inspired. Some of the gods may have different names, but if someone says Odin and I'm like, Allrund, or someone says Thor and I'm like, Toralf, we'll just roll with that, right? We're kind of carving out our own little place in Kaldheim, for one thing, because we're telling a story about several characters who have bonded with the bones of ancient giants such that they can summon the bones up from the earth and ride around in them, doing battle with massive creatures in a sort of kaiju mecha giant battle mode, which is not something from the Magic lore, but definitely fits in with the fairly heavy metal leaning aesthetic that Kaldheim embraced as well. All right. With all that introduction out of the way, we're gonna meet our wonderful players and then hear a little bit about their characters, who are now 3 sessions deep into an adventure. And when we left off, we're about to do battle with a very terrifying foe. So first, a round of player intros, and then we'll hear about these characters. And as we do so, we can also get sort of a where we left off summary, so we remember where the characters were. Brendan, will you tell us a little about yourself?
Yes. Hi, I'm Brandon, and I've been playing with Gauntlet since about the middle of last year and having a lovely time.
Fantastic. Great to have you. Danielle, you're up next.
Hey, I'm Danielle, Belta, pronoun she, her. I've been playing with the Gauntlet since about January and really, really enjoying this game of Vikings and mystery.
Absolutely. Jan, you're up next.
My name is Jan. My pronouns are he, him. I just finished my exams today, so if I'm giggling wildly, randomly, that's why. Also, I think Alexi is a phenomenal GM, and I try to get in games with him because he's a grand GM.
Right back at you, Jan. It's wonderful to play with you. Last but not least, Josh, tell us about yourself.
Of course. Hi, I'm Josh. He, him pronouns. I have been playing games with the Gauntlet since last summer, and I am looking forward to our game tonight. I'm looking forward to batting a giant vampire dragon out of the sky, making it regret coming after us.
Oh God, that's a lofty goal.
Yeah, a lot of confidence there. As I think I forgot to introduce myself. I'm Alexi Sargent, he, him, and you can follow my gaming endeavors online at Cloven Pine Games if you want to check out the games that I've designed or follow along with my thoughts on games. You can follow Cloven Pine Games on Twitter, on itch.io, or on Substack. let's meet the characters that we're playing. Let's go on back. Brandon, tell us about your character, and I will share our character keeper so people can see these lovely PCs.
Hello, my character's name is Hillevi, she who is a berserker, a cheerful warrior, full of good humor and enthusiasm as long as there is a scrap in the offing. She has a tattoo for every boon companion fallen in battle. She does not know who her father is and takes a fair amount of ribbing about it, as long as it doesn't get too personal. In recent times, she slaughtered a great many skells who had ambushed the party, and with the help of all the others, slew their sorceress and carries a trophy therefrom. And last time, she did the mad thing of engaging in single combat with a war mammoth in order to drive it away.
And she basically Legolasted it out of existence.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Extremely
fairly successful.
She had no illusions that she could actually defeat a war mammoth, but hurt it and make it flee. That was one thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And now a vampire dragon, and we'll see if she. We'll see if she's able to match her steel to the creature's scales here. Wonderful. Let's meet our next character. Danielle, will you tell us about Ulf?
Ulf is the village's Sethkona, which is normally the wise woman or sorceress, and he is the rune caster, inheriting that position from his mother, who died mysteriously, and has been here to call on the gods and pray blessing on all of the warriors as they've been doing fantastic feats, and is a bit has now just slipped back into this bone bonded form in order to help carry everyone as we're going back, which is originally what he was going to be as a warrior before taking on this role to invoke the gods. So trying to keep people out of trouble as much as he can, which Hillevi delights in finding and chasing down. And also interested in Otarr's mysterious connection with potentially his mother's magic. So that's kind of what's going on with him.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much. Great to have great to have Ulf, and very exciting to see him in bone bonded form. Let's meet our next character. Jan, will you tell us about Otarr?
Sure, my pleasure. Otarr is he's a character, to say the least. He's like a shirtless, heavy metal drummer type person who has drums on either side of his thighs that he plays with iron drumsticks. He used to be a warrior, but his body has long ago failed due to dozens of the Viking equivalent of sports injuries, and since then he's taken up the beats as his replacement trade. He is, I think he's turning out to be a misunderstood character. He's sort of brash and bold and sort of headlong, but he has good intentions, and they're not coming across, maybe because of his brash methods. But that's great. That makes for interesting story.
And he's become blood brother to the troll Ursa.
That's very true.
You had set out to recruit on your adventure.
And not only have I become this troll's blood brother, I have failed to strike up a relationship on multiple occasions with my newfound blood brother, which maybe speaks to the difficulties of troll human affairs, generally speaking.
It can be, it can be trouble, but you have taken a vow to protect her, so you will need to be guarding Ursa, with your life. Let's meet the last member of the party. Josh, will you tell us about Siða?
Of course. I'm playing Siða, who is the Vargar, or like a outsider sort of individual.
Mhm.
She was exiled from her old clan over an accusation of killing her brother. She doesn't know if she killed her brother. I hope she didn't. She is a bone bonded. She was concealing this from the holdfast, out of war fear that they might not be fans of it, and now has turned into a bone bonded in response to this very fearful dragon, to take it on and to try and escape its wrath.
Yes, very good, very good. Well, having met these wonderful characters, let us begin with a cold open. So, we see the landscape of Kaldheim, the realm of Bretagard, the foothills of these mountains that our heroes had recently descended in the company of their new troll boon companion, and somewhere far away in these foothills, there is a glimmering portal, an omen path, as it is known. These are the paths that lead between the different realms of Kaldheim. So, say from the human populated realm of Bretagard to the realm of the dwarves, Axgard, right? Just for example, and we see a maddened war mammoth come charging, towards this portal, like it's fleeing from whatever has been causing it to be frightened and terrified, right? It's fleeing towards this portal, and then it rears up and trumpets as something steps through the portal with heavy mechanical tread, and the mammoth charges away, and we see silhouetted in the portal a behemoth suit of armor, creaking and steaming like it's some sort of carefully forged mechanism, far beyond human manufacture, but clearly not a born thing, because nothing born would be so big and so shining with strange metals. And this metal colossus has has kind of a vaguely humanoid shape, and the helmet like head kind of turns, and in the distance we see the looming figure of Arvarger, in the bones of a giant she has summoned up. And so even far away, she is clearly a bone bonded warrior, standing within this giant skeleton wreathed in magical fire. And the camera cuts back and forth between Siða standing there in her bone bonded glory, and this mechanical thing standing at the Axgard omen path, and then a voice from deep within the thing says, "Siða." And we cut away to where our heroes are about to do battle with this monstrosity. As screeching down from the sky comes the vampire dragon. Ulf, you had summoned up the bones and scooped up several of your companions to get them far away from this thing, if I understood it correctly.
Yeah.
What do you do as the vampire dragon comes plummeting down from the dark sky?
Do I have time to consult the ancient while I am in bone bonded form, to see if that's when you speak wisdom? You may choose not to roll, but listen to the giant spirit, and the GM will tell you 2 true things and 1 lie based on the giant's understanding and motives. And I was wondering if these giants might know something about these vampire dragons, and or might have a weakness that I could call out to Siða.
That is a fantastic idea. I'm very into that. remind me. So there's no roll for this when you're using this bone
I
bonded.
guess not. I was going to roll speak wisdom, but I guess you don't roll. So I assume this is as everybody's sitting on his bone bonded shoulder, and it has the troll and everyone scooped up. Ulf in the center, all covered in flame, is instead like leaning back, eyes closed, whispering, doing something that is communing with the spirit of this giant.
Oh, that's wonderful. So like you scooped up the troll Ursa. Otarr is sitting on Ursa's shoulders. You've scooped up the berserker Hillevi, who I believe Hillevi, did you like run over to like stand on Ulf's like giant shoulder at this point?
Oh, you're
muted.
Sorry.
As soon as Ulf scooped me up, I climbed right up on his shoulder, and I am holding on to a neck bone and working myself up into battle fury.
Great.
Of course
Great.
you are.
Right, you know, I'm right. I'm screaming, and imprecations at the thing. The blood, your stolen blood, will litter the landscape.
Yeah.
And while I'm, you know, I'm holding on to, as I said, onto a neck bone with my left hand, just in case Ulf makes a sudden unexpected move. I don't wish to be ignominiously precipitated to the ground just yet, but that still leaves my right hand to hold my battle axe and wave it in.
Yeah.
As I shout imprecations at the dragon.
Your giant mount is probably not walking towards the threat as fast as you would like it. I don't know. I don't know if
Come on, together we will slay this thing.
he is. And you see him muttering a kind of spell and unfortunately not listening. Super well.
Yeah. So I think Ulf, as you consult the ancient, you're hoping that in this giant's bones there will be memories that can help you learn the weaknesses of the vampire dragon. This great predator from Immerstrom.
2 truths and a lie, right?
2 truths and a lie.
Presumably
yes.
You're doing this while you're running, though, right? Or are we just like standing?
No, it sounds like Ulf needs to stand still to consult the ancient.
Oh
yeah,
no!
So I am bracing myself on Ulf. If that thing gets too close, I will have words with it.
I'm just yelling, "Run!
I'm drawing myself up to my whole 5'7" or so, and I'm going to protect this giant.
That is the adorable mental picture.
Great. Yeah. So Ulf, what you hear echoing through the ages, through these bones, what you hear is, no metal weapon can pierce its hide, but the dragon is weak to ice. It is a monster that feeds on spirit through the blood or the bone. It's not picky. And that's what you get as some answers about the dragon.
Okay.
Do you shout anything out to your companions based on that?
Yes, I think he definitely sees if he can yell to Siða. I don't know if she's already taking a charge toward it, but I think he's like, beware giant's advice, something like, you hear the groaning and creaking of it. Metal weapons no good. Use ice, it feeds on your spirit, or something like that, in this kind of booming voice. But he definitely indicates that and I think he assumes Siða will understand, because she's bone bonded, that maybe not everything you hear from the giant is always, in your head is always the best thing.
Yeah.
But
so we can take it that Siða understands there must be there's a food mixed in here, and you're leaving it to her to sort it out.
Yeah.
All
Yeah,
right.
but I'm definitely saying it loud enough so hopefully the people hanging on to his bones can hear it as well.
Oh, I'm like,
Or is
it's
it
literally reverberating like through
Okay.
them as you say it, right? Because
okay, yeah.
you are now this giant. So as you say things, the people that are clinging to you kind of like feel themselves, resonating with whatever you're saying.
Aha!
Mhm.
No metal weapon, but perhaps a fist of bone.
You just hear like a giant rumble of miffed. If a giant could sound miffed, that's what.
Fortunately, you can't. The giant can't roll its eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah. The dragon is hurtling down from the sky. Siða, what do you do? You're muted.
I thank you for that. I did not realize. So, your giant form even creates oversized versions of your weapons. I noticed.
Yep, that's true.
So, I think that the giant Sifa, the giant that Sifa inhabits, has this big, sort of like crackling, lashed together bone bow. And I think that in a smooth motion, like an archer leaning down to pick arrows out of a quiver, I think the giant leans down and rips a tree out of the earth, and knocks the bow with just a pine tree, and aims it at the dragon. It's going to take fire.
All right. That's wonderful. So I think given that you are a giant, you will be able to fight this dragon on closer to even terms, whereas someone who is not a giant would be, standing firm against an overwhelming enemy if they tried to battle the giant, or tried to battle the dragon, but you will be able to wield your power against a worthy foe. So yeah, you're letting loose this this whole tree trunk that's your arrow here. I think that's like one of our like moments where there's like a sudden like freeze frame, everything goes like black, white, and red, right? Like it's a kind of special like montage treatment of this like moment of blows exchanged as like, yeah, you are firing this at the dragon, but of course the dragon has these massive raking claws and long serrated tail, and it's belching fire out of that mouthful of tangled fangs and tusks. So there's many different pointy bits on it that it could hit you with, depending on how this roll goes. Go ahead and roll plus arm to deal death.
I roll plus I, in fact.
Oh,
Is a
you do?
special ability I have.
Oh, what's the ability? Is that your bone bonded ability?
Yes.
When you deal death while giant, you may roll plus I. Go ahead then. Yeah, with this bizarre smoking bone bow. Roll plus I to deal death against the dragon.
Oof, that is a 4. So this plan does not go as Siza would hope.
Okay.
Yeah. So was part of the hope that the ice clinging to the tree would be helpful in fighting this dragon?
Part of it, the ice cling to the tree. The tree is not metal, certainly.
It's true. It's true. I think the dragon sees what you're trying to do, and it lets out a huge belch of flame, and the ice melts. The tree is reduced to ash, and the dragon kind of bats away the remains with its wings as it kind of like jackknifes in midair to bring its massive jaws clamping down on the shoulder of your giant form, Siða. The vampire dragon's weapon of breath, claws, and fangs is deadly 3. Do you have any armor?
Shoot.
Muted. You're muted. Still muted, Josh.
Thank you. No, I have no armor as far as I can tell.
Dang it. Sorry, I should have done.
All right.
Protections first.
So that's going to be 3 wounds.
That's all right.
That you need to pick out from among the wound statements.
Is it 3 or is 4?
Yeah, I'm gonna.
Shoot. Is it 4? Because it's deadly.
Deadly 3.
It's deadly 3.
That's one.
Oof.
Is that what that? Can I? Is there any way that I can?
All right.
Like
I can
shoot
take
out
4 wounds.
I think that doesn't
you
fill
can
up your
take 4
track.
wounds once.
I can take 4 wounds once. I would die if I took another 4 wounds at that.
Oh,
point.
okay.
But
sorry, I was looking
I
at
can
the
take
wrong
4
track.
wounds once.
I
Currently, I'm not in immediate risk of immediate death.
Sorry, I was looking at your XP, which had exactly 4 boxes left, and I was like, "This is gonna be a problem."
So as you, Siða, as you pick out these wounds, you get to tell us a little bit about it, how Siða is dealing with this dragon's attack. Do you have wounds in mind, or shall I come back to you after I check in on what other people are doing?
Yeah, I'll take. I can't wait around for that to heal because I can't wait around for that to heal. I've had worse. Siða has had worse, but she hasn't had much worse. I think the nature of this is that the dragon's fire, it just sort of bathes over her, to some extent, because it is an arrow. It's firing in a straight line, right?
Yeah.
So the fire licks Siða, and inside of the bone bonded construct, like she can like feel burns on herself, and I'm gonna say also because that it's just a flesh wound because she's not burning or she's not bleeding. She hasn't been cut. She's just now she has very severe burning on her left side because it is a bow that she'd be holding.
Okay. All right. So battle seemingly not going very well. Ulf, you've consulted the ancient. You have shared wisdom with Siða. You've seen the dragon just chomp down on Sitha's bone bonded form. Are you still going to flee and save your other companions, or are you going to try something different?
I am. Yeah, I think I'd like to do. Let me run this by you. While I'm in bone bonded form, the plus is that I can use an ancient rune of mastery only while I'm in giant form, and the one that I have is the Rune of Destruction, which is when you deal death, your attacks are forceful and ignore 1 protection. But what I think as soon as like seeing the vampire dragon getting its just teeth into Siða, I think he definitely kind of charges over there. But I was wondering if he could plant his staff and like summon a kind of like ice tower or something like that, like shooting at the dragon.
And
or
your staff
if
is,
I
of
would
course,
need...
the like bone version of your staff that was summoned up with your bone bonded form.
Yeah, I didn't know if it needed to be physical because he can just whack the dragon with it, or if it could involve inscribing the rune, kind of like the Rune of Destruction kind of deal.
Let me just double check. Does the Rune of Destruction does it work with? Is it part of the spell carving move, or is it just its own bonus here?
It's its own thing. I think it involves rolling dealing death. So I'm cool rolling dealing death for that as well instead of doing spell carving. But I didn't know if otherwise there's a preference because like I'm totally fine.
No, that looks like that looks like it's a that your rune mastery allows you to add this this bonus to dealing death, and as long as you are wielding your power against a worthy foe, you're dealing death. I think the dragon is a worthy foe. I think when you are a giant, you're able to wield your power against it, and of course, it's always possible it will wield its power right back at you.
Strike him.
Okay. All right. I've got.
If it's possible, I'd like to help her.
Yeah.
Or help Ulf, I should say.
So there's aid or interfere. So as long as you have a
I was
bond with
hoping
Ulf.
to use my inspiring tales.
Interesting. Ulf, are you cool for Otarr to use inspiring tales as you're charging forward?
Yeah.
Great. So I think all this time I'm just like yelling, "Run, you fools!" on like like totally helpless, on the shoulder of these giants, and like I've been through a lot, and I've seen a lot of people die in situations like this. So I'm probably pretty scared, right?
Yeah, situations very like this. So
I mean, like situations where we're like where strong-headed Vikings are faced with an overwhelming force, and they decide to battle it instead of like run away, which of course was probably my strategy for years and years and years until I got old enough to realize that's not a good idea. So I'm just yelling run. And then like I guess the battle, the sounds of the fight and the loudness and the fact that I'm tiny and they're giants is not aiding in my efforts. So I think at some point I'm just like, God damn it. And then I take out my pardon me?
Otarr, sing.
Yeah, exactly. And I take out my my iron drumsticks and I start bomb, bomb, bomb. And then I think I add the occasional like cymbal clash with one of the bones or something like that. And and I as loudly as I can to try to inspire these giants who I imagine I'm not exactly loud for.
You're right in their ear. You're right in one's ear at least.
That's true.
You're like the little cricket chirping in
yeah.
Ulf's ear here.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, I want to weave an inspiring tale in my heavy metal drum, double kick drum way of doing.
Go ahead and roll plus tongue, Otarr.
All right, here we go. Okay, and tongue this is I think the first time. Oh no, it's not the first time I rolled tongue. It feels like it's been the first time. Let's see what I get. 12, baby.
Okay, there we go. You get to hold 2, which you can spend to reveal an ally's strength, reveal an enemy's weakness, or reveal a welcome truth about your situation.
Okay, so I will for sure reveal an ally's strength, giving them +1 forward. Definitely. And then I will leave the second option to you, Danielle. Would you prefer that I reveal an enemy's weakness, or would you prefer that I reveal a welcome truth of our situation?
I think a welcome truth would be great because we've got one thing about the enemy's weakness, and if this could be like something about Siða's able to get free earlier or something like that, maybe.
Sorry, I don't know if I know what you mean.
Like instead of just it focusing on the dragon being something about the situation, like Siða is less hurt than it seems or something like that. That would be a welcome truth too.
Right. Okay. Yeah. That seems wise. Yeah. So I think. I do the beating and I weave as I do into my beating a story about some heroic legend. Fighting again, like it maps on allegorically onto what we're doing, but it's not a story about a dragon per se. And yeah, I think it's features a hero that was thought to be smote, but who yet had blood and fire in his belly to fight on, and that's what you get.
Fantastic.
That's a ally strength to give Ulf +1 forward.
Mm-hmm.
And what was decided about the second option?
Well, the welcome truth we thought, and maybe you can add to this, Alexi, is that the idea was that we pass on to Ulf the idea that we can yet get away, that Siða is not doomed, and that we still have a chance of getting out together.
Gotcha. Yes. Yeah, and perhaps even as you're saying that, you see that, like, Sida's like finding her way to like try to slip out from the the jaws of the dragon. Does that sound? Would you be kind of attempting to extricate yourself, Siða? All right. Go ahead and roll to deal death, Ulf.
Okay, is it okay if I use my physical dice? Or do I need to use that? I forgot to open the dice roller.
Oh, physical dice is fine, yeah.
Okay.
This is plus arm, which is 0, but also +1 thanks to Otarr.
That's a 5 + 1, which is 6.
Oh,
but
snap.
Can anyone else aid after the attacks?
Yeah, hypothetically. Hillevi, do you have a bond with Ulf?
I have 2 bonds with Ulf.
All right. Do you want to aid Ulf as you see?
I have been egging Ulf on. Now, strike now. The opportunity for glory awaits you.
Yeah, go ahead and roll plus your bonds with Ulf, so that's +2 to help or hinder someone. In this case, help someone.
Not with that. That's a 5.
Oh no! Even with the +2,
the giant is deaf to my entreaties.
So Hillevi rolled a 5, and Ulf rolled a 6. All right, great. So I think the end of this montage is just the scene of our heroes taking their licks from this dragon. You guys are going to escape. You're going to crawl back to the holdfast. But it's not going to be pretty. The dragon has massive fangs, deadly claws, and as you battle it, you realize it breathes not only fire but living shadows that reach out and cling to you and instill despair, because it's a vampire dragon. So it's not just a beast of fire and flame. It is also marshaling the forces of darkness against you. So I think it's going to be a montage of the wounds that each of you take, and then how you kind of drag yourself back towards the holdfast after this kind of cataclysmic clash here, right? Where like you comfort yourself saying probably you wounded the dragon, but it was ultimately a Pyrrhic victory at very best, right? And the beast is still out there somewhere. So, Hillevi, are you up to start as you tell us kind of like what it looks like for Hillevi to have experienced this kind of perhaps defeat is too strong a word, but certainly setback.
Yes. Well, Hillevi was greatly hindered by the fact that this thing flies and is fast, and even standing on the shoulders of a giant, trying to attack it, is very difficult. At one point, Hillevi, flung. In the midst of a gout of flame, flung a javelin towards the thing, only to see it bounce off of armor. Hillevi comes out, shield and equipment blackened with with flame. Her she has put away her shield because she couldn't hold it up anymore. Her left arm hangs loose by her side. She is furious at the frustration of this of fighting an enemy that never closes, and whom she could not get to, and that emotional overlay overpowers any actual injuries that she has. I mean, surely anybody else might, anyone's not a berserker might have trouble walking or standing up with the amount of injury she's taken, but she seems to just be angrier than hurt. So I will take Rarg as a useful wound, and also my arm is ruined by fight on. So
yeah, those are two.
Considering the berserker's ability to absorb punishment, 2 wounds seems like about the right amount.
I think 2 wounds is good. Yeah. Ulf, what does it look like as you are making your way away from this scene of tragic encounter?
I think that his initial charge toward swinging this staff, I think barely glanced the wing initially and probably spun it out in a different direction, but it didn't really do much. And then it was just this kind of tangle of confusion and trying to, it's hard to keep track of who's on you because when you're inside the giant, and I feel like it's all a big confusing jumble of voices, and this continuing beat of a kind of panic and shame and a lot of emotions kind of clashing for him as he's trying to see if he can help Siða extricate everyone, but then on the way back is very exhausted and feels like a bit of a failure, because what is the point of having all this if you can't successfully help repel? And I think feels bad toward everyone that he was supposed to be sheltering better instead of deciding I'm gonna go run and punch a dragon. So I think all that is kind of warring in him as they're trudging back.
What wound will you take?
I think I'll take the gods are displeased with me. Because he doesn't know if that is following his path correctly.
Yeah, absolutely. Otarr, you and your blood sister, the troll Ursa, have made it out of this, but barely. Right. This was closer to a complete disaster than you ever wanted to see. What does that look like for Otarr limping back to the holdfast, and what wound will you take along the way for that?
Yeah, I think we get that tight shot of Otar's eyes and face as we do, and we're getting flashbacks to this montage of the fight. And I think we have that slow motion sort of sound at a distance effect, and maybe calming classical music while we get this incredibly violent cuts between all the different damage that's going on. And I think at some point Otarr, he's on the shoulders of the shoulders. He's on the shoulders of the troll, on the shoulders of Ulf's giant aspect. And I think we see him kind of looking back over, and you see this dragon sort of like ominously come into the frame and is swooping towards. And I think Otarr, because he's looking back, sticks his arms through his drums on his legs, sort of breaks the straps that connect him to his legs, and then sort of backwards like leans to cover the troll and tries to use his drums as like a shield. And I think that's when we get like a breath of fire or something that just like totally burn up Otarr, like burn up his drums, and also I think but protect the troll that he swore himself to. And if it's okay with you, Alexei, I would like to have my drums be broken, and also to take an extra wound on behalf of my troll companion.
To take two wounds here.
Yeah, I think that would be fitting.
All right, keeping Ursa safe though.
Exactly. Yeah.
Go ahead and take your 2 wounds. I assume you're taking. This will make a thrilling tale and a wound to lend weight to this story.
Yeah, exactly.
It seems appropriate. Siða, you already took some wounds.
Yeah, Siða, as the dragon retreats, I think that Siða, retreats with her own group. She's not in great shape. I'm gonna take another wound, which is that damn blood leaves a trail.
Yeah, so honestly, we might get like the camera tracking shot that like shows just the the kind of mess of footprints, some of them bloody, that like follow this group as you pick your way back towards the holdfast.
Yeah, we are in rough shape.
Yeah,
not the way that Siða likes to travel.
Torvald's holdfast, the place where you came from, seeking the troll Ursa to help your ailing Jarl Torvald. But I think the person that meets you as you kind of are like pulling yourselves towards the gates of the holdfast is the woman who stepped up to be kind of the acting leader, acting Jarl, as it were. Though I don't know that she has that title officially. It's Sigrid. Kind of braids over her shoulders, axe and sword crossed on her back, looking at the 5 of you, with the troll Ursa among you now, and she says, "Hillevi, Otarr, Ulf, who's this creature you've brought with you? What are you doing out there? It's not safe. There have been sights of terrible giants roaming the land."
Oh, you're muted, Brandon.
Still muted.
Yeah, we're not hearing you.
The
Sorry.
Hillevi burst goes, if only the giants were the ones molesting us. No, take my shield, sister, for it is good at this point for firewood. I shall have to ask Tryggvi to make me a new one. And Sigrid can see that my shield has a giant dragon claw scraped across the front of it.
Yeah, Ulf has gotten like knelt down and bone bonded from and kind of like let everybody off, and you see him shrink down.
Oh yeah.
Into regular
I'm
form.
Assuming by the time you're approaching the holdfast, you've
Yeah.
Don't want to go in giant form.
released the bones back into the earth.
Yeah.
Well, I clasp Sigrid's arm with my good arm, and say, "Well met, sister. It is true we encountered many formidable foes, but we are returned, and perhaps with help for Torvald."
Help for Torvald.
And I indicate the troll.
What can wicked creatures like trolls do to help us?
No, even wicked creatures can be cunning, it is written. And And sure, wasn't it your own mother who sent us upon this errand to find this creature and bring him back? So she must have a plan.
My mother? I'm like, Sigrid clearly has not heard about this plan, and it's clearly news to her that
Yeah.
Gunnold sent you out to do this. She's like,
Yeah, Otar's shaking his head in the background, just like, oh, you shouldn't have said that.
Lord,
We
I
must-
could use with the drink.
we must have words. But Ulf, Otarr, Hillevi, come with me. Have the outcast and the creature stay outside till we have determined what must be done.
Otarr needs a healer.
Yeah, I think Ulf steps up and is like, and says, Siða fought nobly among us as if we were her own people, and indeed took many wounds to defend us.
And
I-
Siða,
Yeah.
in the middle of Ulf speaking up for Siða, Siða has slung her bag back over her shoulder and is making her way to the gates.
So you're like turning right around, like you're gonna head right out.
No, she'd rather be outside.
Otarr steps
nice
tries to block you for sure. I think he's just like, he's all burned up, like maybe his hair is singed, and like he's just like, nah, no way.
So do you say something to Siða, or you're just standing there shaking your head like, no, you don't, you can't slink off?
Yeah, I think that Otarr and his, like, I don't think he has to say anything. I think there's this look in Otar's eyes, which is like, he usually has like a sort of a levity sort of playing around in his face, but I don't think you see that at all at this moment. I think he looks pretty serious. He looks maybe a little bit disappointed in a fatherly sort of way, and he wants you to sort of. You get the impression that he wants you to sort of face this.
Hillevi doesn't keep quiet. Hey, outsider! You mean you're leaving without drinking with me?
Yeah, and Siða.
You wouldn't. Someone who fought with me in such fashion wouldn't dare do a thing like that.
Siða says, "Oh, well, the meat is cheaper outside of the walls."
Yes, but the camaraderie is warmer in here. Come on now.
I think I take a step forward and I grab your wrist and I lean into your ear and I say, "Don't waste this opportunity. This is your chance." And then I add, I add something to the effect of like, if you want to earn their trust, you're going to have to be honest. And this is like a very, I think it's uncharacteristically Otarr.
Hillevi, whose filters are none too good, says at her normal conversational voice, which is loud, I am being honest. Siða showed more bravery than half a dozen clanspeople I can think of off the top of my head, and I will be damned full Alfrond if she is forced to take her mead alone and without, while others who have less deserving enjoy the warmth of the hearth and the goodness of conversation.
Okay, so you're saying this, out loud, audibly to anyone who's potentially
anybody who's nearby
gathered around curiously.
Yeah.
Yes.
So there's some faces like looking out of like windows of nearby huts. There are some some warriors who are like practicing axe throwing in the square who have like turned to listen to this, and Sigrid next to Hillevi says like, Don't you think that's enough, Hillevi? Come now, we must talk to my mother.
Well, are you going to invite him in? Are you going to invite her in or not? Your word carries weight. And Hillevi looks at her as if to say, "There's one right answer to this question."
Yeah, I also think that maybe might be an opportunity for me to use some magic on her.
Interesting. Let me check. Hillevi, were you angling for a parley roll there on kind of like pressuring Sigrid to invite Siða in?
Let's see the basic move here that I've got in mind. I guess parley is the closest thing there is, right? Which again, I'm not the best at, but yeah.
It is true. This is that's a heart roll, or
no, it's a tongue roll.
It's a tongue roll, and your tongue is -1.
It'd be hard. It's fine. My heart's in the right place. Sure. I'll make the roll. What's the worst thing that can happen? Let's say that.
Yeah, I think that.
But the point of my diatribe is I think less to persuade Sigrid than it is to persuade Siða.
I have a backup plan.
So this is for Sigrid.
All right, go ahead and roll.
And on an 8, notwithstanding the fact that I don't have great words.
Hey, all right. So parley on a 7 to 9, they will do what you ask, but need some concrete assurance of your promise right now. Yeah. So what are you promising to Sigrid to get her to invite Siða in, Hillevi?
I said if anyone, I'll say if anyone takes issue with Siða being here, they will deal with me. Just like this isn't, I will deal with it. It's not your problem. And I'm saying this loudly in front of witnesses.
Perfect. Yeah. So Sigrid kind of gives a sigh, looks around. She spots, the person who seemed most incensed by your loud words earlier, and she says, "You hear that, Wiglaf? You can have words with Hillevi once we have spoken to my mother." And then, Sigrid looks to you. See that you do not disappoint us. And then strides off towards the center of the holdfast, ready for the rest of you to follow. Will you do so?
Yeah, I'm limping, but I'm following.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Ulf will kind of hang back and with a probably pretty not enthusiastic Siða about this, and just be like, "I have some salve for you, if you need it as well," just to kind of like, she may not be comfortable to be here, but at least we can patch you up.
Hillevi shoots Ulf and Siða a big grin.
Yeah, I think that we all follow.
Very good. Well, then I think the camera pulls up, and we get our first nice big glimpse of Torvald's holdfast. A bustling settlement where people who have fallen through the cracks elsewhere in Bretagard have managed to come together and forge something. Tenuous and contentious as it sometimes is, this holdfast is home for many people, and clearly a place of some song, a place of some joy. We see children running through the streets. We see places where craftsmen are hard at work, and craftswomen are creating arms and armaments. We see a little piece of civilization in this wild and dangerous world, and then perhaps ominously we hear a rumble far off, and we'll take our first break there. And when we come back, we'll see what our characters do when they actually get to meet the the power brokers, the movers and shakers of Torvald's Holdfast. Take about 10 minutes and be back at 20 past the hour. All right. See you all then. All right. Yeah, everybody feeling all right? Ready to jump back in. Very good. And Josh, I mentioned this in the chat. It feels a little bit like this this kind of Siða coming to the holdfast moment. It follows along with your outlaw move, but we didn't have you roll it per se. Is that something you want to roll, or are you cool to go forward with the sort of the positioning we've established here?
I'm happy to say that is a pretty appropriate alternative. So
nice. So there's there's the move feast that is accessible at the holdfast. I think we aren't like headed directly to a feast just because there are things to deal with. But when the time comes, remember that feasting at the mead hall lets you heal your wounds and mark XP. Let's check in on our quartet of characters, because Sigrid felt that we needed to talk to her mother Gunnold. So I think what is Ulf? Gunnold is regarded as a kind of powerful and influential woman of this holdfast, but she is by her own vow barred from doing politics, despite what some people suspect she might secretly be doing. So what is it that she does all day? Like when Sigrid brings the four of you plus Ursa the troll to see Gunnold, what do you discover her in the midst of?
I think she has very publicly talked about I should be assisting the women of the holdfast in their daily duties. And so it turns out that she just so happens to be always either in the mead halls helping stir a pot or helping string clothes up on lines, conveniently where people are always talking about what's going on in general. So I feel like she has committed herself to it, what she calls a life of service, and she's never out of the loop whatsoever. But yeah, exactly. And I think she probably drops by and helps Ulf. His relationship with her is very much he'll inquire of the gods for her kind of a thing. She'll always come by I have this on my mind and I'm just not sure. So he's very used to casting lots for her. Very, very, very unimportant, normal person that she is, that has no influence on anyone.
Yeah, that's very good. Yeah, so I like the idea that maybe Sigrid brings you to where Gunnold is helping with some other folks that are kind of peeling and chopping root vegetables to go into a big stew for kind of a hearty meal for the people of the holdfast. And she's chopping the root vegetables, but she's also kind of nodding along as someone is sharing gossip of the strange creatures that have been seen roaming through the mountainsides. And then Sigrid says, "Mother, Hillevi, Otarr, Ulf, and this outlaw, they've told me you tasked them with bringing this troll creature to our holdfast. Is that true?" And Gunnold nods and looks around at you and says to Ulf, "And how was it finding our friend here?"
I think he just sort of bows and it's the way was unexpectedly rough, but the gods smiled on us. The troll waits outside. hopefully bringing and I think he points at Otarr and says even one of our own has made a close connection to it if we need to ask it for help.
Does the troll wait outside? I just want to ask.
Yeah. Did we?
Or
we
was
end up deciding that Ursa is waiting outside, or that Ursa's kind of hanging around with the four of you?
Yeah, we didn't decide.
We fought
because
to make sure that Siða could come in, but I didn't know if.
it seems kind of rude to fight for Siða and not for Ursa.
I mean, Otarr wouldn't have left the troll.
Oh, really?
behind. No.
Okay,
Okay.
so we are full. I think I'm a little bit unclear on like the size of the troll. I'm like, is it gonna fit in the? But I do like the idea that this giant troll is.
Yeah, the troll can by stooping down get inside of buildings, but I think at this point you're still outside, right? Like I think a lot of stuff in this holdfast happens outside at just tables and workstations that are set up outdoors.
Okay.
And when you said the guide smiled upon us, Otarr under his breath said, "More like spit."
Yeah.
And Ursa says, to you, Otarr, if this is the gods smiling upon you humans, I would hate to see when they are frowning.
And I actually think I laugh a little bit, and then I cough and I'm just like, ugh.
Hillevi says, yes, this cunning troll is named Ursa, like my mother.
And Sigrid looks back, looks at the troll up and down, and she says, "And can we really trust a creature like this to help?"
That is not for us to say. We were bad. Ask her to come, and she has come, and now we will do. It is for you to strike a bargain with her to help Jarl.
And I think when she says, can we trust the creature like her? I'm like, under my breath, can we trust the creature like you?
What was that, Otarr?
I'll step on Otarr's foot if I have to. And yes, I realize that he's probably got a broken bone in there.
Yeah. Gunnold says, I know it's hard to believe, but in times past, humans and trolls have been able to put aside our differences and work together. Ursa, what will it take for you to use your knowledge to cure our beloved Jarl? And I think Ursa will reiterate, right, what she'd said when you negotiated with her, that she wants a guarantee, right, of no humans coming into the mountains to hunt her, a kind of right to her own sanctuary there.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
Is Gunnold in a position to make that promise? Are we the only humans? Like, is she able to?
She's forsworn, meddling in political affairs, so she definitely doesn't have the ability to make that promise. The only one who can do that would be someone who is the Jarl or the acting Jarl. So
right.
So in other words, it's not clear who has the ability to make that promise.
Yeah, it's a tricky situation since Torvald is still the Jarl, but he has been poisoned and is unable to fulfill these duties. Sigrid has stepped up, but I don't think she's been kind of officially declared Jarl by anyone. It's just that everyone defers to her because they understand her to have leadership qualities. But of course, her mother has forsworn meddling in politics, and yeah.
I think I lean into the troll's ear and I whisper as much into Ursa's ear.
Oh, just recapping the whole political situation to her.
Yeah, I'm just like
humans are so complicated.
If there's what seems to be an uncomfortable impasse, I think
there's like a pause where silence falls over the group for a minute.
I think Ulf would clear his throat and be like, I can inquire of the gods through the lots to see if this is a wise course of action. see if the gods would be pleased with this.
Gunnold nods, like, yes, indeed, we ought to consult the gods. Sigrid kind of like, grunts something. She feels like common sense would dictate this is foolish to bring a troll into the holdfast, but she will like not get in your way if you're going to consult the gods.
Okay. I think that he would pull the bag of lots out and step into like a little clearing, and you see everything on it, sort of like a flash of the light as he's praying before he casts what look like these bones inscribed with runes on them onto the ground to see how they fall. And it's not a roll. I think I just ask the GM stand-in, it's God stand-in, to say, are the gods pleased with the idea of the troll helping us?
Yeah. The way the lots fall and the way you read them, it seems that you think most of the gods are pleased. Kolvori, goddess of kinship, is particularly pleased with this course of action. Egon, god of death, is displeased. There is a token of his displeasure in the way that some of the lots have fallen. But it seems mostly this pleases the gods based on your reading.
Okay. I think Ulf relays that with a little thing about like the god of death is displeased because we would be snatching one from his bounty, but I am sure that any kind of casts a look at some of the warriors, we would be able to please him again very soon.
Yes.
And Gunnold seems pleased with this. Sigrid kind of says, "Oh, very well then. We'll see what this troll can do."
Sigrid, you should have been there when the Skells ambushed us. It was marvelous.
A Skell clan ambush?
Yes.
Did any get away?
Actually, no. None of them got away. That we know of. Perhaps there was one or two cowards skulking in the forest that we did not see. But of all those who are visible, and look, I bring a trophy for the mead hall.
You hold up the bear skull.
It holds up the bear skull
that she'd taken from the sorceress. Yeah. Sigrid will whistle, and say, "A noble trophy indeed, Hillevi. I knew I could count on your strength of arms." And she'll kind of like gesture towards the hut where Torvald is battling the poison that's that has laid him low.
Troll, if you cure this our chieftain, he certainly has the authority to grant you your sanctuary. So you may have to proceed on that hope, if it is your will.
Then let us have words with this chieftain. Blood brother, you will come with me.
Of course.
All right. So I think like it's this little hut, right? Like this, possibly it's even like like medicinal hut specifically, where Torvald has kind of retreated to battle with this poison. So the troll can barely fit through the entrance, and there's room for Otarr to squeeze in after, but not for anyone else to follow. Does that sound reasonable?
Yeah. Is it a shrine to the healer?
Yeah. It like does double duty. Something that is both a kind of little hut for convalescence and serves as a shrine invoking the god's blessing. So we'll check in a moment inside with Otarr and Ursa the troll, but outside we have Hillevi, Ulf, Siða. People are people are like looking askance at Siða. There's whispers, traveling around the crowd. And the last thing that Sigrid says to you, Hillevi, before she seems intent on business elsewhere in the holdfast, but she says, "Well, Hillevi, a warrior like you must realize even if Torvald should recover under the ministrations of this troll creature, that he does not have the stomach for what is needed. Someone needs to gather the warriors that are discontented, to give them a purpose. Someone needs to lead us against our enemies. There are rumors that the dwarves of Axgard have been sending terrible mechanical monsters into our land. Perhaps the time is coming when we must strike back. Will you stand with me when that time comes, Hillevi?"
Of course I will. I have no. I do not have words to inspire, but I can inspire by my presence, and I shall. And while there is a threat to our holdfast, you will not see me sitting quiet.
That's the Hillevi I know. And she will move on. Siða, you can see the people casting like worried looks, and mothers and fathers kind of like pulling their children away from you a little bit as they move about. What do you do?
Yeah, I think Siða. When people are sort of glaring at her, I think she makes a point to sort of scowl at anyone who stares, and you see some of them like scurry away, a little bit afraid of this outcast.
Hillevi chuckles.
I think it is sort of annoying. It's like a little like being a celebrity, right? And everyone recognizes you, except sort of the bad inverse. And she's tapping her foot and she's waiting. She's, "Do you think that it will take a long time while they negotiate with Ursa? Or, God, I wish they didn't make us wait on the street."
No, let us go within. There's no reason we have to stand out here like a bunch of strangers. The warrior's hut is rude but commodious.
Well, Hillevi, I would love to go to the warrior's hut with you.
Well, then there is at least we have mead there, and perhaps there will be stories.
I feel like a go to the warrior's hut is a euphemism in Viking terminology.
Are you extending this invitation to Ulf, Hillevi?
Of course. Come on, Ulf, you too.
Yeah.
You were no coward in the fight. Your presence would bring honor to the hut.
I think that you see a kind of smile on his face, and he sort of nods and says, "Unfortunately, my blows did not strike near as true as yours. I should wait here in case they are in need of assistance with healing or something, or any other such thing." And I think gesticulates at them. But enjoy the mead. I think he tells both of you.
We will, and perhaps tonight we'll have a feast to celebrate those victories that we did have.
I look forward to raising a cup with you. And he kind of smiles.
So I'll take Siða back to where the bachelor warriors live, and that includes women.
Yeah.
Very good. Yeah, shield maidens, absolutely.
Yeah, who are not those people who are married have their own hut, but Hillevi's not, and so she shares a larger larger hall with some of the others. Although I imagine that some of the warriors, the sort of disgruntled ones, may have moved away and constructed their own building.
Yeah, well, on our map we have a kind of rebel camp just outside the holdfast.
Yeah, there's just it's some they've pitched some tents,
yes.
there so that they can be out there and grouse about the current leadership. But more room for us. Hey.
Absolutely, yeah. So you're sharing a horn of mead here as
That's
you
right.
begin to. Absolutely. Let's.
I saw Siða. You had no fear of opprobrium. That's good. Let them grab their children away as if you were some monster out of legend. Any fear that they show is nothing more than they deserve.
Yeah, Siða nods. She says, "The people who grabbed their children in the street, we did not track through the woods for a troll. They did not fight the Skell clan. They don't know what they're doing. They live in town. I can't judge them."
No, and townspeople have their uses, but they have no reason to look down their noses at you, simply because you were outcast. But how many of the people here, and I just hear vaguely at the outside, how many of the people here are refugees from one place or another? We have at least this is not a single clan, as you can probably see. We have the remnants of at least 3. Depending upon how you count, and so no one here has a great and ancestral claim to this holdfast that carries a great deal of water, that they can go on making comments about outcasts with such surety.
As you say, no one here has a great and ancestral claim to the holdfast. The door swings roughly open. And Wiglaf, who earlier took such offense to you praising Siða in such strong terms, says, "Hillevi, still breaking bread with this outlaw and outsider, and saying she's worth more than the honest warriors of this holdfast. You will answer me."
Just some of them, Wiglaf. Are you naming yourself among them?
I know you've been mocking me under your breath ever since I was passed over when my uncle fell sick. Well, I will prove myself. I'm not afraid of you, Hillevi. And if you are not a cowardly bastard, you will fight me.
I was all ready to fight you. Now I may kill you.
Beautiful. If it's all right, I might cut away from that.
Yes. And I the last thing I do is I say to Siða, Siða, would you bind my left arm up? I'm going to have to fight this one one-handed.
Nice. Yeah. So let's. I have all these NPCs. Might as well show pictures of them. We've got Sigrid. We've got Gunnald, and now let's go meet Torvald. So inside of this tent, where or this hut, right? This this sick hut where Torvald has been battling the poison. Otarr, you slip in, and even above the strange earthy scent of the troll herself, there is a really kind of pungent scent of something acrid within this tent. You don't know if it's the medicines Torvald has been trying, or just the scent of whatever poison is eating away at him. But your Jarl, who has been known for even-handedness and fair dealing, is kind of lying slumped in this bed, skin pale, but slick with sweat, and kind of he's tossing, turning, and he looks up at you and the troll, but like his eyes don't seem to quite focus on you two, and he says, what nightmares have come to afflict me now?
Yeah, and I think I say, I don't know if this is the right title, but something to the effect of peace, my lord.
Absolutely.
And yeah, and I say, I say something like, remain calm. This troll here means you well.
And he's kind of like, blinking, but can't seem to like. It seems like he can't quite resolve what he's seeing and hearing. He says, "Otarr's voice, but from a troll."
Yeah, and I think with that, I like realize that he's sort of like in a half stupid state or something like that. And I think what I attempt to do here is to calm him with a poem.
Ah, very nice. Is this your move?
It is my move. Yeah.
Very good. Let's take a look. So this is a poem, my lord. On a 10+, they are impressed with your skill, believe your tale, and offer you hospitality. Yeah. You're performing for someone with stature and importance. Go ahead and roll plus tongue.
And what I want this to look like, if it's okay with you, is that I sort of want to have this like like this scene that I feel like in the people watching at home, we would get this like touching sort of like melancholic poem that's sung very seriously by Otarr, and we would have these shots of this sort of very careful, concerned treatment of Torvald by the and so we'd get this nice harmonious pairing between these like feverish turns and grunts of Torvald paired with this ministration, paired with the poetry, all given, I imagine, in sort of dim candlelight of some kind inside this presumably windowless hut.
Absolutely, yeah. It's lit just by a few small torches. And then the like faint glow of the magic as Ursa is kind of like, she's spreading her big troll hands and kind of like, basically like feeling the air around Torvald, and like little ice crystals are kind of like forming on her hands, and even like bits of his sweat seem to be kind of like lifting from him and becoming part of this ice, like she's attempting to purify his body somehow with this icy magic. So go ahead and perform your tale, and we'll see if you can win over your distracted and distressed Jarl.
Not at all.
Oh dear, is that a sense?
Can I aid from outside?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So you hear like a yell. You hear Torvald starting to say, "No, get out! You will take no more from me, you creatures of darkness!" Right, Ulf. But Ulf, you can definitely aid. Let's see if you're able to be of assistance.
Okay, that's rolling +1. Right, please.
And tell me what are you doing to aid, right?
I think that Ulf is kind of kneeling, and you see him kind of praying, and you see the blue light creeping up his staff and then seeping into the hut, and it's sort of like casting, supporting, casting a kind of glow over Otarr and the troll to give a supporting, calming aura to what they're doing.
Yeah. Okay. I like it. So what did you rolled an 8 on helping out?
Yep.
So that means they get a +1, but you also expose yourself to danger, retribution, or cost. Beautiful. So Otarr, does a +1 bring you to a 7?
Does.
That's what you needed. So you get to pick you basically get to pick 2 out of the 3 here, right? They're impressed with your skill, they believe your tale, and offer you their hospitality. And I'm kind of interpreting believe your tale to mean they like, to mean believe you that the troll is here to help, right? Like that.
Yeah.
That seems like the key component.
Yeah, I felt. Yeah, I was leading towards they are impressed with my skill and believe my tale, but I don't think they offer me hospitality, which I think fictionally sort of makes sense. They're not in a position to offer me hospitality. Plus, they're also it's arguably they're arguably not even a leader, so that might also make sense.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So I think what happens is Torvald like blinks and like his eyes are like clearer for a moment, and he says, "It is you, Otarr, and you vouch for this troll."
I do.
"And I will trust you, but you must leave. I don't want you to see me like this."
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, maybe this is not the right moment, but I feel like Otarr will, I'll say, yes, my lord. But before I leave, let me leave you with a thought. Perhaps there is some alternative way that we can deal with this political situation that doesn't involve Sigrid or what's her mother's name? Gunnald taking the reins. And then I imagine I sort of take the flap of the hut and exit.
Beautiful. So you've kind of vouched for the troll and left her to do her work, and then stepped out to join to join Ulf. You see Ulf kneeling and praying, and like a little bit of blue magic still flickering around him.
Yeah, and I think I even like stumble because I think I'm like so badly like bruised and beaten, and I've just been sucking it up this whole time, and we just see Otarr sort of crack and stumble in front of Ulf.
I think he definitely looks up and leans over to kind of catch you.
That's great.
And you definitely do catch my weight. I'm definitely leaning into it.
Ulf, you were exposed to danger, retribution, or cost by aiding Otarr.
Mm-hmm.
Great. I think as you catch Otarr, you look up and like blink a couple times, but you're sure you saw it for a moment. In some of the there's some kind of smoke from incense rising up out of this hut, right? There was some incense burning in there, as part of the medicinal attempts to Torvald. So in the incense smoke for a moment, you see your mother hovering over this tent, and she's looking down in disappointment and shaking her head.
Oof. Yeah, I think he shakes his head and tucks it away, and leaning under Otarr's weight. Yeah. Can he have heard what you said to Torvald, or?
Oh, that as Otarr was on his way out, he was saying like,
Yeah.
what if there were a different way to do the political situation?
I mean,
Jan, what do you think?
I mean, like, I definitely would have been sort of saying that low, but I definitely think it would be cool. Like, I would be fine with it if you like overheard that.
Yeah,
it could be like magically or something, like it reverberated.
Yeah, that's
through.
fine. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Ulf picks up more than you might expect because of his kind of magical connections.
And I also imagine my ears are ringing from the battle that we had, and I'm probably talking too loud or something.
I'm whispering. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
perfect.
It's like, Darvald, are you okay?
Yeah. Yeah, I think especially if Ulf saw you whispering in Hillevi's ear earlier, I think he would say, "Come, Otarr, I know where the warriors have gone to the hut, but we have some things to talk about if that is if we may parlay briefly as he's supporting you."
Yeah.
Pro-
Otar's torn for sure because he's looking like he has so much to do with Siða and Hillevi, and also not to mention he's bounded to this troll, and like this troll is definitely like some kind of enemy creature in like foreign territory. So he's just like
Mhm.
he's like super torn about which direction to go right now, and
Yeah.
I think he might like. I actually think he might just reject that. Yeah, I think he might not play ball. I think he's like he might get the sense that he's torn up about it, but I think he just says perhaps another time.
And then I think Ulf would kind of, he's a pretty easygoing guy, but then he would kind of look at him. He's half holding you up and be like, "Should I leave you to support yourself to the warrior's hut then?"
Oof.
Yeah, and then I think he's sort of like yeah, he spits on the ground and he's like, "It's been my fate," and he just like puts his weight back on his thing. And and like tries to like scrape himself all the way to the
Oh
hut.
my gosh. Yeah. And I don't know if he would let you you do that. Be like, I think you just sigh and be like, "Come on, stubborn bard," he said. I think he sighs and he's like, "For someone trying to be in Hillevi's ear, you sure are like her sometimes." It's like God's cursed me being surrounded with these stubborn warriors.
Perfect. And speaking of stubborn warriors,
Yes.
we cut to Hillevi getting ready for a duel of honor against Wiglaf. Is that about the size of it?
Yeah. So if Siða will bind up my arm to get it out of the way.
So is this because of injury to your arm, or
no, he wants
to,
to one-handed beat this
demonstrate
person?
that you can fight this person one-handed?
The dragon tail lash. He threw me a tail lash across the shield.
All right, yeah.
And I can't hold up my shield right now.
Right, you said you would need a replacement shield because the other is just firewood at this point.
I tried to put this one up on the wall, but yes, it's not much good. It's not much good for fighting, and neither is the arm. But I don't need two arms to fight the likes of Wiglaf.
All right.
So I will cry up a crowd of onlookers because these things are not.
Yeah. So Siða, you see the like strange sight of the people of Holdfast, like who are they want to gather around because they want to see this fight, but they don't want to get too close because they are suspicious of you and what strange outsider curse might cling to you. So they are like forming an audience, but like very obviously like keeping their distance from you. So there's kind of like two circles, a little circle around you and then a circle where Hillevi is now pacing off with Wiglaf, who says, You will rue the day you spoke slightingly of the warriors of this holdfast, Hillevi. You've gotten too proud and too disdainful, and someone's got to cut you down to size.
Perhaps someone does, but it will not be you, or at least not today.
And he spits at your feet.
You have insulted me not once but twice in front of others, who can attest that you did call me both a coward and a bastard. But I will be magnanimous and say and ask what the terms are for the fight, since you challenged.
Brandon, your mic is a little bit low. I'm having a hard time hearing you.
But I said, but I yet will be magnanimous and ask you whether you wish to set the terms for this fight. I, as the challenged, have rights to do so.
He kind of he thinks this over. He says, "To maiming or death, whichever comes first." And clashes his two short axes together.
I agree.
Then let the gods judge. And he goes into a fighting stance, and like all around people take a deep breath in.
Yeah, that's the and Hillevi rests the tip of her axe on the ground, and begins to breathe hard, and then she smiles, and she says, "Allrunt, give me your strength today, that I may show this coward the error of his way, and avenge the slight to my honor and to the honor of everyone here."
Wonderful.
And she bites her lips so that blood forms, and goes into battle trance.
Okay, great. Berserker Gong it is.
Well, if it wasn't a fight to the death, she wouldn't do it. But he claimed death, so
or maiming, whichever came first.
yeah, well.
All right, yeah. Siða, you hear the people around, like some of them cheering for Hillevi, some of them cheering for Wiglaf, some of them just kind of gasping as this the battle rage comes onto her, and
it doesn't come. I'm too tired.
Oh no!
I after working myself up twice in one day and the rigors of that last fight, I can't bring the ferocity onto me.
The rage isn't there.
The rage doesn't come. I'm exhausted. Yeah. I'm trying not to show it. But clearly that is what is happening here.
Siða, nearby a little child, like kind of who doesn't know any better, asks you, "What's wrong? What's wrong with Hillevi?"
Siða sort of looks at the kid, and then she looks at Hillevi and realizes that this is obviously not gonna go great. So she stands up and she says, she says, "Wiglaf, you wouldn't have to do this fight if you ever actually went outside the walls of this holdfast and fought something that was trying to hurt you."
Hillevi laughs and says, anyway.
Yeah. Wiglaf says, I will strike you down once I have dealt with her, outlaw."
Hillevi laughs and smiles at Siða and says, "Good words spoken, and if they are the last ones I hear, I will take them gladly with me to the halls to the halls of Allrunt."
So Siða, what are you trying to do? Are you trying to provoke Wiglaf to fight you instead?
Yeah, basically. I suppose I'm trying to parlay with Wiglaf to try and sort of like shame him.
Hmm.
I wanna prove that I am harder than Wiglaf. I live out in the wilderness. I track people. I just got this troll. I can turn into a giant. I don't want to tell him that last part though. So I think that Sifa is gonna she is going to, stand up straight, and she's gonna stare him down and see if to hope that is enough.
Okay.
Or is this a parley, or might this be a speak wisdom?
Ooh,
Because
that's true. This might be a speak wisdom because I am an outcast. I'm a Vargar. Right.
God, you're drawing on the wisdom of the wisdom of the wilds to.
Well, and you may have an effective taunt.
That's smart.
Or
Go
something
ahead
at least to give him pause, distract him.
Go ahead and roll plus heart and see if see if we get
rather
something
roll
here.
plus tongue. Okay. So roll plus heart. 9.
Cool. On the other hand, the GM will tell you something interesting. It's on you to make it useful. Yeah, you take Wiglaf in and you see that he's clearly been trying to prove himself quite a warrior. He has these tattoos along his arms, including like coiling dragons going up like one of his arms. That's what you notice. It's on you to make it useful.
Yeah. So Sifa looks at him and she says, Wiglaf, the last time I slept under a roof was 3 weeks ago. I sleep every night with a knife in my hand, and if I am killed that night by a beast, by a bandit, I will die knowing that I will die a warrior's death. And you sleep under wooden walls in nice, warm, blanketed furs. And every day you go and you boast with your friends at the mead hall. I bet you didn't even fight for those tattoos. You paid for them with coin, and not for blood. Not with honor, not with glory. You just went to the man, you said, I want to design. I think you should go, Wiglaf, before you make more of a fool of yourself.
Oof.
Yeah. I think that'll get under his skin.
I'm ready to fight you.
All right,
I love it.
let's fight.
Yeah, Wiglaf like roars out, shut your outlaw mouth, and like throws one of his axes at you, Siða.
Yeah.
What do you do?
What do? I am going to Siða is going to throw up a table. This is a bar fight.
All right. Are you? So is that a defy danger to start off?
Yeah, I think that is a defy danger.
Great. Yeah, go ahead. What do you think? That's arm because you're deflecting, or do you think it's quick thinking?
Quick thinking. Because I'm reacting quick.
All
so
right.
he throws the axe, and Siða is on the other side of a mead table from him, and she is gonna reach down very quickly, and that is a 9. So I do something. So she grabs the edge of the table and she just throws it into the air, and the axe hits the table and not her.
Yeah.
And everything on the table flies off.
Oh yeah. If you do this, you're going to fling drinks and mugs all through the crowd, and spark a no longer a one-on-one fight in any way. You're going to spark a brawl.
Absolutely.
All right.
This is the opposite of what you were supposed to do, Siða.
So yeah, the axe thuds into the table. Someone's like, "Hey, that's my favorite table!" Right, and so someone else has mead poured all over them, and someone winds up and punches you, but not in any of the places that hurt the most. So it's it's just mostly to signal that that everyone is like throwing themselves into this, and Wiglaf at this point is charging and just trying to throw people out of his way so he can get at you.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Well, Wiglaf meets me, unfortunately.
Oh, okay. Hillevi, you haven't been able to enter the battle rage.
I don't need. I'm not going to fight with battle rage.
You're not going to fight with battle rage. What does that look like when Hillevi just is wading through the bar brawl?
Wiglaf's armed.
Yeah.
He has challenged me. I'm fighting him. And some people are still watching. So I howl and charge him.
Nice. Are you dealing death?
I am.
Go ahead and roll plus arm.
Nine.
I think that sounds about right. On a 7 to 9, you inflict a wound, and your enemy makes an attack against you. So Wiglaf, Wiglaf is angry. He's got a lot to prove, but he's definitely not as skilled of a warrior as you. So his attack, his axe, right, is just deadly one. So it would be 2 wounds total. I believe you still have 1 protection from your mail.
I do,
but you don't have the protection of your shield.
I don't. No.
All right, so you're gonna take a wound, but you get to tell me how badly you hurt Wiglaf, because he does not have a lot of fortitude here.
Well, I have deadly ones, and I do 1 wound normally, so that would be 2 minus any protection he has.
Are you aiming to fell him or aiming to maim him? Since
I'm aiming to kill him.
Okay. You do it. So like what we have this this brawl going on. Mead is getting hurled, bar stools are getting smashed, and then in the midst of it, Hillevi comes colliding into Wiglaf, and what is it like? Is it an axe blow to his head? Like how are you gonna kill him?
My battle axe has a point on it.
Mm.
I body slam him, run him up against a post, and stab him under the chin.
Oof, that'll kill him, and and then at the end you notice that he's sunk an axe into your side as well.
Yes, well, pain reminds me that I'm alive.
I love it, and I think the camera pulls back. The brawl. The brawl was in full swing, and then the door slams open, and everybody stops, and standing in the doorway, more hale and healthy than they've seen him in months, is Torvald, looking in to see his nephew slumping dead to the floor at your feet, Hillevi. And let's take a brief break there. Maybe 10 minutes. Be back at 25 past the hour for the end of tonight's session.
Can I interject just a little tiny little scene I wanted to just add to that at the end?
Yeah, sure. Like a detail.
Yeah, I don't want to change the details of anything. Just I wanted to just have a little scene where maybe I get up to the door of this thing and I open it and look inside what's going on, and I'm just I just shake my head and close the door, and then slump against the door and then close my eyes and just and wait.
I think that's about right. That's about right. All right. See you all in 10 minutes.
Yeah, rolling snake eyes and still being able to exact revenge on your foes. Hillevi just does not know how to take an L. Will refuse to. It's amazing. I love it.
That really didn't turn out the way I thought it was going to turn out.
I did not expect the murder at the end. That was not in my
You can ask Hillevi about
outline.
it. You can ask Hillevi about it. There's a reason for it.
What I pictured in my mind was that I would walk into this tent where you had just like won this victorious like duel, and then I would start singing, and everyone would be like, "Hillevi, Hillevi," and then you would like be risen up on people's shoulders. And instead, what I got was like I opened a door and you murder someone in cold blood. I guess it wasn't cold blood; it was just. But anyways, then I'm just like, and there's like a giant brawl.
He had an axe in his hand and was trying to kill me.
Yeah.
He did start it.
Yeah. Well, that was the wrong way of turning, but you get what I'm trying to get at.
So I think,
yeah, no, it may not turn out well, but had to go the way it went.
Oh, she has. Okay, that's a good tip. Thanks for the RP tip off.
I think I think we see Torvald looking over this scene. Everyone has turned. Everyone is surprised to see the Jarl, back standing and strong and healthy. And then everyone registers that Wiglaf is dead at Hillevi's hand. And Torvald says, "Hillevi, I'm told that you are one of the bold souls that brought the troll back to cure me.
I did with my boon companions.
For that, you will join the feast tonight. But for Wiglaf," he looks down, "you will answer to me tomorrow."
As you say, my Jarl. Until
And he turns.
There is, and I murmur. I say quietly to anybody who happens to be nearby, or what is that old proverb? Tomorrow never comes.
Hmm. And I think some of
Are we going to go to a feast?
Some of Wiglaf's friends will drag his body out, casting evil looks at Hillevi. But indeed, the Jarl has been cured, and so there must be a feast to celebrate.
Oof.
So possibly with some mixed feelings. Let's turn to the feast move, because I think that everyone is invited. Though there may be some cold looks as within the banquet. So shall we go to the mead hall and feast? When you return to the holdfast and enjoy the comforts of the mead hall, heal all wounds and mark 1 XP. So we can, so as we go around, I'll probably go back across the character keeper for this. Tell me a little about how, it can be a montage of not only the feast itself, but but receiving some medical attention, or general patching up in the holdfast at this time, as there's a moment to catch your breath, so you can give me a sense of how your character is getting back on their feet. And then I will ask you about your saga, I think. So Siða, let's start with you. Tell me a little about what it looks like as you feast and solve your wounds, and then you can recite up to 3 lines of your saga, and take XP for those, is the way this works.
Yeah. So at the feast, I think we see, a fun montage of Siða in a bathhouse, and then, getting in some furs and a tunic and stuff. Not like much like town clothes, and not
Yeah, way less rugged than what we're used to seeing her in.
Yeah. And then she goes to the feasting hall, and there are a few shots of, drinking and partying and speeches and all that. It's a good night. It's a good feast.
I
And
picture
think she
like
stands up during the toasts. There's like 10 minutes probably where just one after the other, because no one wants to be one-upped. They keep standing up and they keep, different people keep proposing new toasts. And she stands up in the middle of it and she says, "To Wiglaf, he died, axe in his hand."
And yeah, and some people drink, some people scowl, and Torvald just holds his drinking horn tighter. Siða,
Hillevi tries not to burst out laughing and fails.
ooh. Siða, do you want to share any lines of your saga here as part of this this moment of reflection?
And when you're done, I have a question for Siða. You're muted, Josh.
Muted. I am muted. Thank you. Let me write 2 more lines of my saga so I can get better XP. And then I'll go back to that one. But what is your question?
I just wanted to know, like, on screen, like, immediately where my head went was that, like, when Siða gets dolled up, Sita's a babe. Like on the on-screen version, it would be like this transformation.
Oh, it's like
I think there is,
after all, with like taking off the glasses.
there is definitely like a very stereotypical, high school prom moment.
Amazing.
It's great. Young people in the village like, who is that?
Yeah.
All right. Very good. Good feasting. Otarr, how do we see you getting put back together in time for the feast?
Yeah, I think this is a like dramatic contrast with Siða. I think Otarr is not like, I imagine the scene is like there's revelry and cheering and so on going on all around him, and we get these really somber shots of Otarr wrestling with things going on in his head, and sort of in a very not in a gregarious mood of any kind. He's eating like carefully. I think he's just like, he pulls like a clump of bloody hair out of his head and throws it on the ground, and just and it's just, he's looking like he's wrestling with things in his head.
Yeah, absolutely. Are you ready to share any of your saga?
No, I was using my saga as a note keeper. I didn't really understand this part of the game, to be honest.
That's fine. To for mostly this will just be an XP infusion, but you can kind of
Well, so explain to me what it is, and maybe I could just make one up right on the spot. Is it just my story? Is that it?
Yeah. Three lines, up to 3 lines that somehow that kind of give a sense of the story that you've experienced.
That I've experienced so far. Yeah.
Siða's got some here that could be a helpful example.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? Maybe move ahead and then I'll work on it in the meantime.
All right. Ulf, what do we see for you? How do you have some of your wounds bound up and then participate in this feast?
Yeah, I think that he helps a stubborn Otarr to where he's going, and then kind of leaves him outside the hut, and then goes back and finally like takes a bath, gets some herbs together in some sachets, planning to give them to the rest of the party at the mead hall. And I think that like he gets a chance to comb his beard, gets a chance to like wash some of the blood off, and I think that he has probably like an over mantle thing that he wears that's like a little nicer for holdfast events kind of a thing to kind of denote. So he's got his, but he brings his staff and then and is at the hall and as everybody is celebrating and the warriors are raucous, I think that he finds a spot in between like probably the elders of the town who he interacts with a lot, and then but always seems very, very distracted because he's always looking over to what the warriors are doing, and wants to kind of keep an eye, especially you see his eyes are always drawn to Hillevi and what she's doing, and seems that he's keeping an eye on what's happening, and sees that Siða is fitting in, and also just wholeheartedly stirring up all of this this kind of raucous feeling. So he's slightly on call, but he is enjoying it, and while trying to give a like the nice gossip version to everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you have any lines of saga ready?
I have. If you start with somebody else and come back, I'm almost done.
We're running out of people.
All right. We'll go. I think we'll end up going back across for saga then. Hillevi, what do we see of you? Enjoying the delights of the mead hall.
Okay, here we go. Best impromptu poetry. Hillevi, beset by cowards, did wet her axe in skellish bloods, surrounded by sorcerous fire, broke the spell, and with one blow clove the wicked enemy in two, for which she holds forth the trophy that she wrenched free to adorn the mead hall and bring us glory. And she holds up the trophy for someone to mount.
Puts the bear skull onto the wall of the mead hall.
The way was blocked by a mammoth from the war, caparison still in armor and mad beyond reason. Yet Hillevi did with one bound leap onto its head among the rending horns and smote it such a blow that it fled and the way was clear. And then last, attacked by flying foe who wielded deadly breath and dared not enter into axe's reach. She held it bravely off, protecting others in disregard of her own harm.
Excellent. Yeah, and so like, some 40% of people there like cheer and clap, to hear the saga, and then others are silent and stony faced. But yeah, go. I believe you've filled up your XP track with that.
I filled it up before, so actually,
oh, nice. Nice. So
this is the
bonus XP.
Yep.
Let me know when you have chosen an advancement. But now we will hear sagas from our other heroes. Ulf, what is your saga?
Okay. I think he clears his throat and says, Freya left a bag of lots, the gods decided their fall. The Skell strove hard, but their might could not hold up to us in brawl. Troll might implored, her knowledge hoard held back in hesitation. Alrun spoke, the cave he smote, spelling truth for all duration.
Nice.
Very nice.
That's wonderful. Right. More people react warmly to that because there isn't some big recent problem that Ulf has called, but I think people have a little bit of confusion as like they're not everyone is learned in the runes, so they're trying to understand what exactly the saga means, but people are like happily puzzling it over, right? Does that earn you an advancement?
I think so. How much do you get for?
So go ahead, check out this in the holdfast moves and map. You get 1 just for enjoying the comforts of the mead hall, and then 1 XP for each line of the saga. So in total, I think each of you will end up marking 4. Like I think all of you have enough stuff to have enough to fill 3 lines of saga. So I think in total you'll mark 4 XP from this big feast.
Okay. Yes.
Fantastic. Otarr, are you ready?
Yeah, I think so. And I'm just trying to understand. So, narratively, like where are we? What are we doing? Like, where are we? Are we seeing the saga? Are we speaking the saga? How does that work?
Yeah, I mean, I think the move leaves it ambiguous, but I like the interpretation that you are literally sharing the saga out loud as part of the feast hall. Though if you want to be sharing it with with a more select group, I'm fine with that too.
Yeah, I kind of feel like Otarr is wrestling with this saga in his head, and he's sort of speaking it out loud as he's thinking it through. And so the first few verses or lines start off cheerfully and optimistically, and an overripe warrior sets out with dreams of legacy, and then his companions dance with blades to the beat of drums. And then he just like has this very downcast look, and then like the rhyme and the meter just break, and he just says, "And fucking goes to hell."
Yeah. To Istfel, even.
Yeah,
or
exactly.
Immerstrom, the realm of spirits or the realm of demons. Perhaps both are a hell of one sort or another. I like it. Go ahead and mark the XP. And
it takes a master of the form to break the form, so I'm sure everybody is.
Yeah, I kind of picture this like people like not really paying attention to him. I think it's like I imagine this as like a shot that the audience gets to see that maybe no one else really notices.
It's kind of soliloquy.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's great. And Siða, are you ready?
Yes, I am ready. Shielded by Seithkona's song, the devil's fire licked and danced, but could not touch strong Siða. Irsa the troll, the wise stone crone, her cave was sought and fought for. To be left alone, the ancient crone saved Torvald. Long he live ever after. Which is a fun slant rhyme, which I'm going to say is fine because we're all drunk at this point in the night.
Oh yeah, people are hooting and hollering. Everyone's happy that Torvald is back on his feet. Surely, yeah, I like this. So I think kind of as the feast wears on, and into the wee hours of the morning, Siða, you're called over to Torvald, up at the head of one of these tables, and he says, "Siða, the Vargar, I'm told I have you to thank as well for bringing the wise troll that was able to bring me back to myself."
Yeah, Sifa nods. She says, "No one knows these woods in your holdfast like I do."
What can I offer in repayment for this great boon?
Well, I would not mind to be accepted as one of your own. It seems only fair. I saved your life.
He nods. He sees the justice of this. He says, "I will let it be known that you are not to be hunted or shunned, but it may take more than my word to win over the hearts of the people of the Holdfast."
You are Jarl.
If I've learned something in my years bearing authority, it is that there are limits to what mortal man can do, even as Jarl.
Yeah, Siða nods. She says, I understand. Thank you, Jarl Torvald. I am grateful that you have recovered, and I am grateful that we have rooted out this poison that took you.
He nods. Indeed. And I'm going to cut over to Hillevi. Hillevi, you find Sigrid suddenly beside you, at the feasting table.
Ah, well met.
Hillevi, you answered for your words upon returning to the holdfast, I hear.
Wiglaf had the audacity to call me out, and yet I still fought him exhausted and with one arm against his two, and the gods proved that my worth above his.
Well, I would expect nothing less, and perhaps nothing more. There are times when subtlety might be called for, Hillevi.
I gave him such option. He could have chosen to the blood.
I advise you, do not tarry here tomorrow. Let tempers cool. You might find welcome among the discontented warriors outside the holdfast, and perhaps I will have a job for you and all those warriors soon.
I may do as you say, but I will not accept a stain on my courage, nor indeed on my father. Allrun knows who he is.
And we cut to Otarr, and Otarr, the troll, Ursa, is kind of in like the corner of the hall, not seated at a table, partly because there isn't a chair big enough for her, but kind of looking on as the humans carouse.
Yeah.
Never been present at such a gathering. Are they always this inebriated and unrestrained, blood brother Otarr?
He just grunts. Yeah, he's probably a few deep himself at this point.
I have something I wish to show you. The poison that took your Jarl. When I was able to pull it from his blood, it remembered who had given it to him.
And then he gets I think the cup, he sets it down, and he suddenly looks like stone cold sober, and he sort of I think he gestures to the head thing to we find some privacy, maybe outside the hall, because he does not want this to be overheard.
Yeah, absolutely. To feel trundle out, into the cold gray of early morning, and holds out her hand, opens it, and kind of the ice kind of forms into a shape, into a face, and it's Sigrid.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Um, and I say, have you told this to anybody else?
She shakes her head.
Yeah. And he says, good. Let's keep it that way.
All right. Ulf, you're inside at the feast. Have you been heavily imbibing mead or trying to pace yourself all through the night?
I think he's definitely been trying to pace himself, just to kind of keep an eye on people and to be ready to do the, Viking version of designated driving if need be, which is like get a
Designated
couple people over their
walker,
shoulder.
right?
And
Yeah.
designated.
I think it's just disarming people, actually. Like, I'll take your keys. I'll take these
Hillevi.
keys.
Axe.
Yeah.
Hillevi is encouraging you to drink.
Yeah, I think he does make a point to kind of walk over and toast her with the horn and do, like a traditional for victory and bravery, I think, and does one of those interlinked kind
Yes.
of like
And for
toasts.
for quick wit and the fight against sorcery.
Yes, great. So Ulf, it's at one point, Gunnold has approaches you.
And Hillevi points out to random nearby people. It's like that, Ulf's prowess in the fights.
talking Ulf up.
Yep,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, I think he kind of like nods and then is like, nothing, did you tell them about the mammoth? I think, and just kind of like, as soon as people are like, oh my gosh, a mammoth.
No, I already talked about that, but they should know what you did.
He just kind of like graciously nods and accepts it, and then sees Gunnold and finds a way to kind of like nod and good feasting, and make sure that he gives Hillevi a look, and then excuses himself briefly to go talk to Gunnold.
Yeah, Gunnold says, "I'm impressed that you and your companions convinced Ursa to come and lend her skills. To be honest, I always thought it was a long shot. It is hard to build trust with the trolls.
If it wasn't, Alrun be thanked. We almost didn't make it there with the skell, and then the beasts and a mammoth from some omen path. There's unrest in the woods,
and there will be more. I can sense it. Omen paths are opening up closer and closer to the holdfast. We will need someone of your stature to fight against what is coming."
I think he looks over at the celebratory warriors and sees Otarr leaving, and is like, I'm not sure if my stature is what the ingredient that's necessary. I will certainly inquire of the gods, but we have more. The holdfast has more than enough people who lead with hearts and minds.
But only so many who can lead with bones.
He just kind of smiles painedly and is like, we the bones barely brought us back in time, but should the holdfast need them, I would be willing to bring them out again if need be.
And I think the camera kind of pans up to where the skull of the bear has been affixed to the wall, and in the dancing firelight, it almost seems to be smiling a wicked smile over the people of the holdfast. And I think let's call that a session. We'll turn here to our end of session moves. So, Hillevi, are there any of your bonds that you feel are resolved?
Let me examine them. And I think they're all going strong.
All right. Did you work towards accomplishing your vow?
Yes.
Never refuse a daunting task. Indeed. Now, do you want to keep that as your vow, or do you think you've in some ways accomplished it at this point?
I hear the talk of horrible dwarf engines and things like that. So
such have been rumored.
I think I still need this vow.
All right.
I only change it if someone talked me out of it.
All right. Good.
No. I mean,
good to know.
I do listen.
Mark one more XP for that end of session. Ulf, are there any of your bonds that you feel are fully resolved?
Well, I don't think he got to have the conversation with Otarr, so we didn't get any like clarity on that. I don't know.
No, I'm sorry, Danielle. I didn't realize that was a thing for you.
Oh no, that's I was thinking of trying to do, but it works fine for next session too.
Is it possible that Hillevi quits disaster, but I can set them right, has been resolved because at this point Hillevi has
has
brought
kind of
disaster home?
I don't know if he thinks he can set him right. I think what that is
you haven't tried yet.
True. Well, I think I was gonna have him ask her about that fatal killing, etc., just like what actually is happening with that, but there were too many people around and like the whole etc. and then Gunnald. So I think that is something that he wants to ask. I think that what his actual feelings are is like, I wish to support Hillevi in like for her own good, even if she doesn't recognize it, kind of a thing.
Does that sound like a new bond then? Do you think you should shall we erase this bond, mark an XP and rewrite it if
it's
substantially changed?
Yeah.
Cool.
If that's
hand out sufficient XP, but also I like the bonds, getting updated to reflect the changes in the characters.
And I think Siða's I know that he has had like premonitions and things about her, but seeing how she's really clicked in with the holdfast, I think it's less great or terrible, I cannot tell, but something about the role Siða plays in the holdfast may be darker than or maybe darker than foretold or something like that, because it seems like she's tied in with the with all this, and then like she's here and now like Wiglaf is dead and like everything's kicking off at the same time. So
yeah,
I think
yeah, I think I'll be worried to see this bond too.
How about your vow, Ulf?
I mean, I think that he thinks that he's been trying to prove the wolf worth of rune casting, even if that glimpse of his mother being displeased definitely puts him on edge. I think that he acted in a way that hopefully was like that, but I'm totally cool if that speaks to that and meant that he was not actually holding it up.
I mean, it is your call to mark to decide about how you feel you advance the vow. So if Ulf feels he's advanced it, you can mark the XP for it.
Okay, I think I will then.
Yeah. certainly we have the sense of the problems and challenges attendant to him fulfilling this role. Otarr, how about you? Are there any of your bonds that you feel are resolved or no longer relevant?
Yeah, I feel like I will write many poems about Hillevi is not true, because I feel like Otarr is gonna die, or Hillevi's gonna die,
Oh
or
man.
both of us are gonna die soon. And so this might just be like I write one poem, or I, like.
So you think the bond is now I will write one last poem about Hillevi?
Yeah, I have this like. Well, we'll see how things turn out, but I have this political idea in Otarr is wrestling with this political idea that I think he is going to lead to maybe Otar's death.
No.
Wow. Okay. Well, update that bond and mark XP. And were you able to work towards both of your vows during this session?
I definitely protect Ursa the troll. That's 100%. And then I will put Hillevi on the throne, which was I was angling for with Torvald, but then that all just got blown up in the subsequent scene. That really, I think it really opened my eyes to. I think perhaps I was naive about who I thought Hillevi was.
Wow.
Okay.
So an XP for the bond, but perhaps not for the vow because Otar's wrestling with all this stuff.
But
yeah,
he did actually say that to the Jarl. Like, I mean, I guess he didn't mention Hillevi by name, but
yeah. I mean, that's what I was angling for at the time. So I definitely, that was totally my intention as a player, and also Otar's intention in the moment. But it just sort of, like the audience would see that sort of, things went sideways.
Sure. And you did fill the your XP track once already. So I think
one's enough then. Yeah.
Sure. That's sure. As long as that works
fair.
For you. And
yeah, that's fair.
Folks, feel free to think a little about advancements between sessions, because I'll be excited to see what you pick up to add into the mix for the finale. Siða, let's turn to you. Any of your bonds fully explored?
I'm gonna say. I'm going to say that my bond with Ulf has definitely changed. I think that Danielle, would you say that Ulf does not trust Siða?
Yeah. I know I don't think that it's that he doesn't trust Siða. I think he's more like worried about the general portents and stuff like that. I think that he thinks he's in fate being used like in a way, but I totally am down for you rewriting that, even if you think that Ulf doesn't.
So, yeah, no, I totally understand. So I think maybe something like Ulf looks at me as a bad omen.
Yeah.
Oh, that's very good.
Yeah, I could see that.
That's some good stuff. And your quest, Siða?
I do. Well, I've been accepted into the holdfast, which I think is a good step to them believing me.
I mean, do you feel like you've completed your quest that way, or feel like there's something more?
I don't think I've completed it. The Jarl Torvald warned me that they would not all accept me. So
all right. So mark XP for the updated bond, and XP for the work on that vow, but more work is still to come. Thank you for that session, everybody. And for anybody who watched along, thank you as well. We'll be back next time for the dramatic and thrilling finale of Magical Multiverse Tour, Iron Edda, World of Metal and Bone, Kaldheim Chaos. Till then, stay safe out there, folks.